we are honored to showcase a passionate Italian primary teacher with more than a decade of work experience as an entrepreneur. She is a teacher trainer specializing in digital marketing with a postmaster's degree in pedagogical coordination of early childhood services. She is Silvia Granucci representing Italy. Her session title is Storytelling and Fun. Hello, Silvia, how are you?
I'm so excited to be here, a little anxious, and I hope you will enjoy this session because it is my first mission here today. So
thank you, Silvia. Very excited.
Thank you, because it's amazing to see this network all connected and we share experiences, thoughts. It's amazing, amazing. So I'm going to talk about storytelling today with two stories. The first one came after the first Education Empathy World Week 2020 last year, when I took part of that with a kamishibai storytelling. And then I kept in touch with an amazing Indian teacher who asked me to run an online cultural project. So of course I agreed immediately. And but then I started to build a different and huge project within my school. The second one, if we have time, I would like to read you a story through a kamishibai. Kamishibai is this one. Is a theater, is a Japanese theater, and you will see later. So if I can share my screen, I have a very simple, yeah. Here we are. Okay. Now, as every storytelling, we have to have a storyboard. This is mine. So who am I? What's a storytelling and chemistry between storytelling and stories? The link between storytelling and education, some digital storytelling, just a few words about it. Then, in the core of this session, India's project, Ada and Luigi's journey, and the kamishibai. Well, you might looking at me wondering what kind of story I'm going to tell. This is the story of an Italian primary teacher who used to work in her family company before deciding to change completely her life. A story isn't just a story unless something happened. And I quit. I started studying again and I joined the educational system. Up to that moment, I've never heard about storytelling, although I used to tell my daughters lots of stories. So what is the definition? It's the vivid description of ideas, beliefs, personal experiences, and life lessons through stories or narratives that evoke powerful emotions and insights. Stories bring facts to life, make the abstract concrete, and move us deeply. Okay. But there is a link also between story and chemistry, because storytelling is per definition a dopamine creating. When you have dopamine in your blood, here are the effects: focus, motivation, and memory. Storytelling creates empathy. Let people be more human, connected with others. We have seen that during the previous sessions. Storytelling can increase endorphin, which reduces the stress and the pain and increases well-being. And I'm so happy that yesterday, Gavin, at the beginning of this amazing week, talked about the 30 essential skills for every child. And it talked about the humor. as an inward reflection that talk about laughter is the key. Laughing is really the key, especially in schools. Unfortunately, at least here in Italy, we laugh too little at school. There are different kind of stories. We heard narrative, anecdotal, conversation and reflections among teachers and parents. This is very important, and that is what we are doing this week. We are conversating and we are reflecting among educators. And the last one is pictures. Just before, Gavin wrote on a box chat, pictures tell stories no voice could ever explain. Of course, it was regarding another topic, very sadly and very deeply, but that's the power of pictures. I'd like to show you a project that a homework that I assigned to my students 3 years ago when the COVID began. And I was at home and with the technology. Yes, speaking of technology, as our Kingsley's session said, today I was supposed to have this session at my house. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi connection was really out of service. So I came at school now. Now I'm at school now. Maybe you will hear some noises, but forget it. We are at school and we can do it anyway. That's the power of technology. So I asked my students to take a picture of their experience in quarantine. I want to cut off the volume because it's in Italian. So I assigned this project to my children through Google Classroom, and they had to use the mobile to take a picture of their quarantine experience. But the picture should have some specific characteristics, like it will have to have at least 5 objects, and these objects should be placed in a very organic and specific place. That was my picture, and like a painting. So I had a cup of coffee because during that period I drank a lot of coffee and I ate so much too, not only fruits, but also lots of chocolate. And then I had the screen because, and you can see my calendar was full of things to do. And then my glasses because my eyes were so hard after all the day spent in front of the screen. So with the picture, they could and they should write their own story. So this was the assignment. They had to write which objects they choose and the reason they choose. That's the first start for the storytelling project. And how can I go back to, let me see. Okay. And it was a second grade, so very, very young. And let's move forward to the other slides. So as you can imagine, storytelling and education are linked since the beginning, because it was one of the oldest form of teaching in education. And it starts even in kindergarten, when it creates the basis for literacy. It can encourage this visualization in a coherent and connected way, which is much easier to remember. Stories can be used as a way to provide students with their first exposure to complex, or abstract information, and can help them build on previous knowledge and move towards a better understanding. What about digital storytelling? Of course, it's a narration that uses digital tools, web, app, video, graphic stories, multi-platform. We have plenty of them, and they are amazing if you can use it and if you have a good Wi-Fi connection. It means creating an harmonious interweaving of text, graphics, recorded audio narration, video, and music to present information on a specific topic. And you can use also robotics, therefore, because it's an additional tool that can involve students in authentic task. This is a very high robotic, but you can think also at the, for instance, Beebot or Bluebot, the bees, which are robots that are commonly used during coding activities. Here we are, I'm so excited. This is what we Italian teacher call the India's project. So as I said before, following my presentation of a kamishibai storytelling activity during World Empathy Educational Week 2021, an amazing Indian teacher from New Delhi Public School contacted me to run an online cultural exchange project together. In Italy, me and my colleague used this project as a theme for various interdisciplinary activities. The discipline involved in the project are Italian, English, art, music, history, civic education, and technology. Because we started from this first meeting, online meeting we had at the beginning of October last year. And during that meeting, we heard about a story told by the Indian students. And then it's supposed to be our turn. But we decided to create a brand new story. So the students invented their own stories. They created the characters, Ada and Luigi, two friends. They created the treasure hunt because this story speaks about a very strange treasure hunt around Italy. So in each city they found a message and a clue, and they had to reach the other cities. So they started to learn geography and to learn cities of our countries and the stories that are under the cities of our country. So the steps of the project were general knowledge of India, both culturally and geographically, online meeting with the Indian class. Here we are, very polite. This is one of the class that Alexander said before, very noisy and lots of different activities inside. But they were curious because it was the first time of an online meeting and they didn't know what to expect. Then it was Christmas time, so we started to prepare Christmas greeting cards and we sent them to India, and in return they send us their Padlet with all their gratitudes and greetings. Okay, now it's the only problem. I have to come back again. I'm sorry for that. Maybe at the end of the presentation, I will understand how to do that. And last thing, the creation and development of a story and production of the images of the story and creation of an ebook. That's where we used an app called Story Jumper. And the children wrote directly, in the app. I didn't do anything except of translating the easy part of the book in English to show them, to show it to the Indian students. And they chose the pictures to put in it. So I'm going to show you the English version, which is easier and short. But imagine that we made the same thing more sophisticated with the Italian version. So this is our book, A Journey Around Italy, to our Indian friends. Okay. This is a story of two friends, Ada and Luigi, who decided to travel around Italy following anonymous messages in a particular treasure hunt. On a September Saturday morning, they were walking along a riverbank in Viareggio. Along with seashell, they found a bottle with a message inside. If you want to find a special place to live, go to the most famous David. They knew it was David by Michelangelo in the beautiful city of Florence. They took the train and they reached the city. Piazza della Signoria was huge, surrounded by old buildings. They crossed the square, and at the bottom of the statue, they found another message and the letter L. To be continued, go under the sign. With the help of their parents, they understood the destination, the Bridge of Sighs in Venice. They took the train, and as they reached Venice, they took the boat to San Marco Square. They took the typical Venetian boat, the gondola, to reach the bridge. Ada and Luigi saw a bottle and a big letter hanging from the bridge, I. They took it. Look in the cathedral of the city of La Scala. They understood they needed to go to Milan, but the trains were late, so they asked for help, and the man suggested they take the helicopter. They landed in Milan and they took a bike to reach the cathedral. They didn't find any message inside the church, so they decided to go upstairs on the roof, and they found another message and the letter A. During Roman time, the gladiators used to fight. They immediately understood that the city was Rome. They missed the airplane, so they jumped on a train. Rome is the capital of Italy. It's an ancient city full of people. They arrive at the Colosseum. A man dressed up like a gladiator asked them, "What's your name?" They answered, "My name is Ada, and my name is Luigi." The man gave them a message and the letter T. There's a city which is famous for pizza. Ada and Luigi love pizza. They knew they had to go to Naples. They rent a car and leave Rome. Along the way, they saw the palace of Caserta, and they decided to stop by. They arrived in Naples, and they went in its famous street, Spacca Napoli. They found a typical restaurant, and they asked for a table. They ordered a pizza. They found the message and the letter A under the table. It seems to be in Greece, in a valley full of temples. Parents helped Ada and Luigi to understand the destination, Agrigento, in Sicily. They decided to go to Sicily by boat. The valley is a beautiful Greek temple surrounded by many tall columns. On the stairs, there was the message and the letter I. There is a small town surrounded by walls with 7 trees on the top of a tower and the Roman amphitheater. They knew the final destination was Lucca, their city. They took the airplane and flew to Pisa airport. Along the way back, they stopped in Piazza dei Miracoli to see the tower. Once in Lucca, they looked for the clue in the amphitheater, on the walls, but they didn't find anything. So they went on Guinigi's tower. Once on the top of the tower, they found the last message. The end. Add the letters you have found and you will discover a great place. They put the letter together and they understood the wonderful place to live in was Italy. And that was the book. I would like to show you all the travel they have made to reach. They travel all around Italy. here we are. We started from here, Viareggio, then Florence, Venice, Milan, Rome, Naples, Agrigento, and let's go back to Lucca, where is my school. So this was the story that my students made. Let's go back to my presentation. And it was really amazing. Children have, each of the children have a part of the text of the story that they have to read in front of the camera to our Indian students. And everyone was so engaged by this task. And they kept it very, very serious. They prepared themselves to be able to tell their stories. Consider that in Italy, the English language is not so well taught because we have very few times to dedicate to the second language at primary school, only 3 hours per week, which is nothing. And sometimes lots of teachers aren't so confident with the second language. So here we are. If I have time, there is the kamishibai. Kamishibai is an ingenious and effective instrument for cultural and reading entertainment. It's a theater for pictures that comes from Japan, an important work tool used by storytellers. It consists of a little wooden suitcase and some illustrated boards. Each one of them has the illustration on the front side and the text on the back side. When the storyteller is reading the story, he can see the text while the audience watches this illustration. Let me tell you this story. It's very curious. In Japan, in the old times, it was a rural community and a very low level, social low level and cultural too. These storytellers used to arrive in the country by bike. So holding on their kamishibai, stopping in a square, gathering around all the people, young and old ones, and open the theater and start to tell the stories. So I'm gonna tell you these stories. I hope you will see and you will hear the story that I have translated for you. The title of the story is Carpe Diem, seize the day. Where did everyone go? Here, what happened? One day, a hippo realized it was time to go, and he left. A very careful penguin noticed everything, and the fast penguin decided to go and call all the other animals. The first to realize that something strange was happening was the elephant, because he had big ears and many ears on his shoulders. Then it was the turn of a beaver that was a mother, and she didn't miss anything. The giraffe came running, angry with the elephant because he had not waited for her. The seal lost no time because he loved the news. Even the kangaroo jumped fast as soon as he saw the moving flash. Walking, everybody wondered what happened. The bear would never have woken up from his lethargy if it hadn't been a very important matter. An ostrich passed by, but he didn't understand anything, but joined that strange line anyway, because he was very curious. A camel was eating when he saw his friends passing by. The panther couldn't just watch. So many left. Everyone finally left the cages. There was a long line on the table that came out of the book. The hippo said, "I want to be a free and happy animal. I will never accept any kind of cage." The animals heard nothing, but it was an example of great courage for them, and they followed him. Someone saw and said, "They are still walking." So this was the story, Carpe Diem, by Christina Petit. And I hope you have enjoyed it. Last thing I would like to tell you is that I usually add a workshop or an activity after reading with the kamishibai, after reading the storyteller. This story, for example, you can use it with all kinds of ages, because you can work on animals, you can work on colors or nouns, lexic, or you can work on shapes. You can work on storytelling writing, because you can start from an animal and you can start from that, or say, what happened next? Can you guess what happened after all the animals left their cages? You can work on civic education, because it speaks about freedom and cages and the power to make decisions and to follow decisions that sometimes are not so popular. So you can work in every kind of areas you decided. And that's the end. I would like to thank you. This is the image from last year, and I put a very big thank you hugging you, everyone. Thank you again.
Session, Silvia. I mean, it was amazing to see storytelling, I mean, through the use of different techniques, from books and ancient Japanese street theater, kamishibai, to digital tools, I'm sorry. And the goal is to intrigue and enable the art of storytelling to be used in any discipline. And I do storytelling every day too, and it was really informative for me. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, your session is useful for students, educators, and parents. It was amazing. Thank you so much. And we have love pouring in from all over the world for you. And Lillian Clegler from Australia writes, "Krasi, what an engaging presentation. Akhil Kumar writes, well done, Sylvia. Nishrin Russian writes, amazing techniques. Reshma writes, thank you. Nissy Pearl writes, brilliant. And please, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please have them at the chat box, and I will convey it to Sylvia. And in the meantime, I do have a question for you, Sylvia, and my question is, stories are, of course, funny as understanding and edutainment, and many a time they can be wonderful tools, means for teaching. And I wonder how stories can be best utilized to mitigate psychological pains. However, at times they are not. And how can one discover stories every time they teach abstract ideas, concepts, definitions, and mathematical problems of advanced levels? How can we use storytelling?
We have to, because with storytelling, even the most painful and sad moments can be transformed in something that helps our students. And I think one, sometimes we follow the brand or the models, and up to today, someone could say, you don't have to read stories about war or about sad moments or about problems. But think about it, we have to let these students and our children to be ready to face the world. And the world is not only white or black, the world is full of very gray colors and different colors. So they have to learn it. And how? Because the classroom is a micro system, but sometimes we want to protect them, so we do not allow some kind of stories to take part of that. But we have to think about the myth, at the ancient myth, the Greek myth or the Roman myth. They used to tell the real life, so the children can can be part of the story, can think of themselves like one of the hero, one of the bad guy, and try to find the techniques to solve their problem. It arrives deeply in our soul, and let the children adjust their behavior to act in a better way. Exactly, it makes the abstract visual and culture visible. Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Just that that teachers teach many advanced level of they do those teaching in classes. And how can we ensure storytelling is a very popular means? I mean, we can have more inclusive classroom if we ensure storytelling. How can we ensure such techniques?
But by using it every day, but every day we put our feet inside the classroom, we can tell a story. At the beginning of this session, I told you that I was supposed to be at home. Instead, I'm here at school. This is storytelling. And keep you thinking why you are now at school, why you have to be abroad. And another thing that comes to my mind, I used to let children and my students prepare the pictures for the kamishibai. So after they think about the story, they write their own story, so they have to do all the researches, they have to work together, because I used to let them work in couples or in a small group. They have to work together, because work team is one of the main skill that nowadays is required. So after that, they can create the pictures, and they can tell the story. Everyone is a storyteller. everyone. You can learn how to volume your voice, how to make the poses, how to use your face, but everyone is storyteller. And if you teach your students to be able to tell stories, this is a power. They will have it forever. They will use it during their life.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Sonia Nagpal writes, hi, I missed the Japanese technique due to internet stability. Please share. Is it possible, Sylvia, to share the Japanese technique one more time?
Do you want me to read one more time on the kamishibai?
Yes, because Sonia has missed it because of the internet stability, and we do have 15 minutes left for.
Yes. With pleasure, with pleasure. If I was at home, I had another story, but you have to listen again to the same story.
We would be honored. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is the kamishibai. Where did everyone go? Here's what happened. One day, our hippo realized it was time to go, and so he left. A very careful penguin noticed everything, and the fast penguin decided to go and call all the other animals. The first to realize that something strange was happening was the elephant, because he had big ears and many ears on his shoulders. Then it was the turn of a beaver. That was a mother, and she didn't miss a thing. The giraffe came running, angry with the elephant because he had not waited for her. The seal lost no time because he loved the news. Even the kangaroo jumped fast as soon as he saw the moon flash. Everybody wondered what happened. The bear would never have woken up from his lethargy if it hadn't been a very important matter. An ostrich passed by, but it didn't understand anything, but joined the strange line anyway because he was very curious. A camel was eating when he saw his friends passing by. The panther couldn't just watch. So many left. Everyone finally left the cages. There was a long line on the table that came out of the book. The hippo said, I want to be a free and happy animal. I will never accept any kind of cage. The animals heard nothing, but he was an example of great courage for them, and they followed him. Someone saw them and said, they are still walking. I want to show you how it is. Okay, this is the picture that you see, and this is the text where you can read the story. So this is in Italian, I had the translation. And sometimes you have to make practice, because sometimes you switch the numbers of the pictures. That's what happened to me last year during the educational week. But with practice, we can do better, always. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Silvia. Thank you so much. Hi, Sonia. I hope you enjoyed the session one more time, just like we did. If you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, please have them at chat box below, and you can connect with Silvia at educationinfluence.com as well, and we'll have her session recording on our platform very soon after the event. So if you do not have any questions, I would like to have a short 15 minutes break before inaugurating our next session. Thank you so much, Silvia. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you to you.
Anusha, just one question, please. Sorry.
Yes, sure.
I did raise my hand though.
Sorry, I completely missed that. I'm really sorry.
So Silvia, thank you for giving it another shot for me so that I could say thank you so much. One question which I have is, so what kind of stories do you have for the adolescents? Because we do miss the connection now. The pandemic, they totally took away the social interaction from the student. Now to get it back to feel for others and so on, what kind of stories would you relate for the adolescents?
For adults lesson, I will build a brand new story, talking about the effects that this pandemic have done within, especially the weakest one. But I think we can use lots of stories and different ones. You can build your own stories starting from your own experience, or you can use just before I spoke about the myth, I don't know, the Troja's horse, or Achille and Persephone and all the Greek stories, but I think you in your tradition have some different stories to arrange and make a little bit different, because you have to create some distinction between stories for children and stories for adults. But you can use this one too if you want to let them think of specific topic. Just you have to adjust the images, for instance, because kamishibai is out in the front, in the back side of the paper. You don't have all the story that explains the pictures. You have some keys that you have to add at the pictures. So I think you can use lots of stories, and maybe you can build your own one.
Thank you so much, Silvia. Thank you, Sonia, for your question. We do have another question for you, Silvia. Mr. Ram Paudel writes, wonderful storytelling. Yes, stories are important for various reasons. Marian Moore says, I like stories not because they do not move the physical world, but I like them because they make eyes dilate, my hairs erect, my heart pounds. Stories are told to heal the pain. Stories are told for the message behind them. Stories are told to rewrite history. Do you agree, Silvia?
Of course. Stories are told, let me give the exact words that you used. story are told to, where is it? Story are told to heal the pain and to see every message behind them. When I used to work in the early childhood care system, they used the story to heal the anxiety and the fear of the little children who were left in the service by their parents. And it has a huge power. But I think it's not only the story, but it's also how you tell the story. And you can do it with practice, but you can become very, very good at it. I think we in classroom, but also in family, within the family, storytelling could be a part of that. A routine, I don't know, maybe it could be at the end of the day to say good night to our children. Maybe it could be at the beginning of the day in classroom to say welcome to our students. Maybe it could be in the middle of the day to let us take a break. So yes, I definitely agree with you.
Thank you so much, Silvia. MD Bajid Khan from Bangladesh writes, telling story in classes has a significant impact on children's learning. I think it may become useful if can make children's real life linkage with the story, or telling concerned community oriented story or lesson related story, is it?
If I well understood, you mean linked with the story of only of our community. I think we can expand it, because when we made the first online meeting with the Indian school, they told us a traditional story, a traditional Indian stories, and maybe we have a similar one in Italy, but we made them think that every school around the world are the same. The problem that we face every day are the same. Maybe some community are suffering the most, and this can help our students to feel lucky of what they have, and not to judge all the times and wasting times. So not only telling story concerning our community, but all over the world.
Thank you so much, Silvia. Fabio Diamante writes, hi Silvia, I am Fabio Diamante from Italy. Maybe we can connect and create a wonderful story for Afghan girls in high school students, Afghan girls high school students. Thank you for your stories.
Very, very well, Fabio. We'll definitely do it.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your question. Resma writes, a good way to tune into a unit. Akhil Kumar writes, storyline matters. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, if you have any more questions, you may connect Silvia on educationinfluence.com.